chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You can hear some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Well, good afternoon, Cayman. And yes, happy Tuesday, everybody. It's time for another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. Yes, I thought it was so fitting. That image was cool because I liked what it says. It says, choose to smile, choose to love, choose to be happy. Happy Tuesday. Yes, and today's episode of Sabrina Speaks definitely is just not a breakdown, but today, as promised yesterday, which was, by the way, by all accounts, all feedback I got, totally unscripted, and you can tell, I saw the comments, but it was so touching, so real, so informative as well, as we are in the season of remembrance. But, you know, just sticking it to the core of what we will be talking about later on in this show, my aim today is to do a breakdown, and as we unpack three, what I would call powerful forces that shape how Parliament operates, like how decisions are made, how the public is either protected or, in all honesty, even played sometimes. But we're going to go into like 3 or 4 segments where I explain exactly what the strategic policy statement is and break that down. And I'll also move into the shield. Yeah, you may wonder, what the heck is she talking about? That I'm looking at from the perspective of parliamentary privileges. It is the legal armor that members of Parliament wear when they speak in the House of Parliament. They can name names, they can make claims, they can even stir mischief, and they're protected from lawsuits. Yeah, but how far is too far? And who holds them accountable when privileges becomes actually a weapon? Yeah. So, and then I'll look into the entire script, like standing orders, and what the rules of engagement in Parliament are, and, you know, who decides to speak when, what you can actually expect in the order paper tomorrow. We're just forecasting what is expected, but it just makes actually listening to these Parliament sittings easier if you understand the jargon, if you understand the language that is being used, because you need to know. So today I am hoping that you will be a part of this journey as we continue to share, educate, and learn in this space. And we're just not watching these parliamentary sessions. We're watching closely, and we're hoping that we can understand exactly what is proposed to be delivered. Because when each of us pretty much understand what is the SPS, understanding the shield, how they're protected, and understand the script, what can be forecasted, you understand how power moves and how you can move it too. Yeah. So it is not just one-sided, in all honesty. It goes both ways. So stay with me. I encourage you to call in. I encourage you to participate, speak up, speak out, because when you all speak, we listen. Yeah, right here. But the content you're about to hear, including any questions, discussions, or opinions from myself, my guests, and or participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. And I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for specific concerns. Sabrina Speaks disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And you can follow me on Facebook, Sabrina Turner, that's a community activist. Also on Instagram, I'm there as well. And oh, for the record, if you are actually streaming this on Instagram, there are times the feed just cuts. And if I'm deep in the conversation, trying to keep up with everything, not all the time I realize it's the feed is stopped. So I would have to go back and share the link all over again. So just bear with me on Instagram. It keeps doing that, but sometimes I don't even realize that the Instagram feed. But we're there on YouTube as well. We're on all of the CMR platforms, but Instagram, that's sometimes I don't know what's going on with that. They're very touchy. Yeah, but did you know there's lots of things. There's a lot to unpack today in order for this to be meaningful. And I know that right here, 7 o'clock this evening is the John Gray. Congratulations to all of the 2025 John Gray graduates. Tonight is their graduation ceremony. It starts, as you can see here, at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. And that's happening over there on 135 Olympic Way. And the theme of this year's graduation, yes, is get in the game. As our graduates end this chapter of their life and begin another, I want to congratulate all of them, to the parents, to the guardians, to the siblings, to everyone, and especially those teachers, those educators from pre-K to daycare, and here you are graduating from high school. But congratulations go out to all of you this evening, and you can watch that on CIG TV. And with a graduation like that, today is a good day to be proud of all the silent battles you've won. It doesn't matter your age. I'm, growing up and where I am in my life today, people would never know. But here we don't know what triumphs these students have actually gone through, and here they are. This is a huge step for them in their education. Kudos to them. And this image could be applied to even us adults as we navigate life, because there is no blueprint. Yeah, so there we got it. So all of those persons getting all their hair done, getting ready. It starts live. It goes live, as I said, at 7 p.m. Tune into CIG TV and YouTube. They will be doing the live stream. Again, that starts at 7. So you can't say that I'm selfish here. I make sure everybody knows what's going on. And oh, look, we got autism. Remember, we got some stuff coming up here. Let me just get this pull up on the screen. Yeah, tonight, October 14th, is the Autism Neurodiversity Support Group. Yes, they're having a meeting tonight at the Intergenerational Hub. That's at 131 McClendon Drive. And that happens tonight. You can see there are others dates as well on that. They're also having them. It's the second Tuesday of every month. And this is for anyone who actually is suffering with autism or any neurological illness. So this group has been making a heck of a punch in society. They have been really, really new. They're new. This is still something that we're learning about, but we didn't realize, how much people are impacted by a neurological disorder. And oh, they're having, remember I had them here a Friday tea and tequila special. Yeah, you got my attention. Yes, that fundraising event will be happening on Saturday, November the 1st from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Brasserie. Now tickets are available. You go to Eventpro and consider it a donation. This is how they do their fundraising. And we're going to help them as they continue to build this so needed NPO. We can do everything we can to help them. Yeah, so let's do our part. Tea and tequila. How the heck does that work? And again, we are in the season of remembrance. And I want to say thank you to a huge, supporter, friend. I don't know how to categorize, but right now, friend, colleague, for sharing this information with me. It's so appropriate. It's so fitting. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this. And, this is Miss, you may wonder, well, who the heck is this? We are in the remembrance season. And this is Miss Ina Collymore Woodstock. Yes. Listen to this. This lady is an OD MBE and was born on the 10th of September, 1917. She was a Jamaican barrister and magistrate who thought throughout her career broke many barriers for women. She's the oldest living service woman from World War II and currently resides in Barbados. She's the oldest living service woman from World War II. And she's living right now in Barbados. She was also the first woman court clerk, crown solicitor, and resident magistrate. OMG. And for her contributions to the development of Jamaica, she was honored as a member of the Order of the British Empire and Jamaica's Order of Distinction. Congratulations. And again, I thought that was so fitting. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, because that one would have missed me. And this is why we remember them, because they gave everything for you. And we got our very own that we will be celebrating for the month. And we will do our part once we get the image. Understanding yesterday with Shadden, and we did the recap of everything that happened on Saturday evening, which was fun. I know you all enjoyed it. Lions Club of Tropical Gardens. Yes, here is their schedule. And nothing is happening today. Is Tuesday the 14th, but definitely you can make plans to attend a Webster Memorial Church Hall out there in Boddentown for their awareness meeting on Thursday evening. And then on Friday from 10 until 12, I think they'll be at the Northside Health Center Clinic. And then Saturday is the East End Health Fair at the East End United Church, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. That's on the 18th. So there you have your list of all of the events that are happening. And we're just going to do our part. And I was out and about today. Yeah, my dear. Big up to Cafe del Sol. Big up to the Cafe del Sol. And I had my own, strawberry matcha frappuccino. Yep, they really, really did a good job. And yum. Yeah, it was delicious. So there was me taking a selfie, showing that I did my part. Yep, I did my part. And it's delicious. For anybody who haven't had it, I strongly suggest you go down there. I was out and about for a little bit, couple hours today. And I just stopped by the Bayshore location. Proof of purchase. Yeah. And I enjoyed my frappuccino. So I was out and about. But yeah, it is delicious. So if you haven't had it, go and get yours now. Huge birthday shout outs to Honorable J.E. Banks. And there's so much people. Oh my goodness. So much people celebrating birthdays today. Even Mr. Edie, Mr. Isaac Edie. Happy birthday to you. And Miss Margaret and Miss Marta Eden. Oh my gosh. It's so much people. I know I'm going to miss somebody. Please don't take it personal. There's just lots of you that are celebrating birthdays. And I know Sandra posted a few of them. But huge birthday shout outs to Jay. Definitely there. Marshall, good evening. Good evening to you, my love. How are you? Connie Bonnie, hello to you. Pretty much commented at the same time. This is good. Inspiring. Love that. Good evening. Good evening to you, O'Neill. Good evening to you, Miss Dorothy. Hi. Miss Lucille. All the way from the UK. Yes, ma'am. I'm up. And you're looking beautiful. I don't know how long I will be up with you. One wore me out. This I heard. I cannot manage both of you. Congrats to all those graduates. Wish them all the best. Yes. Yes, Miss Lucy. I heard it. I was actually wrapping up content for today, making sure. And I'm Yeah, I heard it. I heard it. You're so funny. Yes, Connie. Uh-huh. Celine Paz, how are you? It is good to be here with every one of you. It is so funny, because sometimes I can really be honest, it does feel lonely. But then you get started and you guys start commenting. Yesterday was funny as heck with me and the crab. You knew I had no clue what I was talking about, but I did it. I did my best. And what a rebound did we make? So, I try to cover just some headlines from CMR. Oh, and the one with the sperm. Oh, Jesus, from old people. Oh, that one caught me. Yeah. So Sandra has an article which you can read in full because I'm going to break it down so that we can understand this SPS a little bit more. I think that you understand it. And there we go. Yeah, Kathy. Remembering our dear friend Kathy Phillips. She's gone. I went to school with these twin sisters. I class in 1990, I think. Yeah. I know I was in high school with them. And yeah, it is. Oh, wow. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Kathy's family. Yep. Oh, Lord. Yes. I mean, a force to reckon with. Strong girl. Excellent personality. Both of them, actually. Both of them. Both sisters. Yes. May her soul rest in peace. And we also see this D'Angelo. Apparently he was suffering. D'Angelo also died. You can see all of these headlines on. I don't have images of them. My apologies. He died. Apparently he's a rapper and he was fighting cancer and still making music and like nobody knew. And now he's no longer with us. So it's somebody's child, somebody's brother. It is quite interesting how the cancer is just taking so many lives. So many people are actually battling with this. Just why you got to be kind because you don't know what people are shouldering. Another story on CMR is the first major AI seminar to feature local and international experts. Yeah, that's scheduled to take place on Thursday, the 30th of October at Hotel Indigo from 1:30 to 4:30. And the Cayman Islands Financial Service Institute, FSI, will be hosting this first artificial intelligence seminar and bringing together world-class experts to explore the fast-growing impact of AI on businesses, government, and society. Yeah, so anybody knew it was, I guess this one passed me because I didn't realize it was National Dessert Day. They must have a day for everything. I guess you can tell I'm not a dessert person, huh? Not really. Nope. Not for me. But I do indulge. I love me some cassava cake, some cornmeal custard top. But everything in moderation. I just don't do well with a lot of sweets. It's not good for the procedure that I had a few years ago, and it's not worth the bad feeling. So yeah, but kudos to all you people who go out to dinner and you ordered dessert first. Good for you. I'll say something, but maybe for another show. Yeah, just for a little fun. I get in trouble. That's what happened. Let me share another link here. There we go. For Instagram peeps. So yeah, just in case, please bear with me, our Instagram people. I know we got lovers of Instagram, we got lovers of YouTube, we got lovers of Facebook, but we try to cover you all. Yeah. So, hey Donnie, how you doing? How you, Donnie? Donnie, Miss Paz, and Dawn is with us. Always good to have you all here. Now, tomorrow is the deadline for this registration. So I know you're going to curse me. We did the headlines. We did the birthday shout outs. I told you what's happening at 7:00. And yeah, we're going to get into this SPS because I know I'm tired of hearing me talk about it. What does it mean? We're just letting you know, understanding, breaking down the legal jargon and letting you know and breaking down the understanding of what it means when you say parliamentary privileges. Yeah, they got all of this out on the floor of Parliament. Now you're going to figure out why. They don't even have to tell you the truth. They can actually accuse a person or tell lies on the floor that could ruin your life, ruin your reputation, and they're protected. Can you imagine? Even business, MPs. Yeah, it can happen. But we're gonna We're going to go into that a little bit more, and you're going to like, what is she talking about? It's the truth. It can happen. But stick with me. More on Sabrina Speaks when we come back, because this is very, 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 very important.
Infrastructure is more than roads and buildings.
It's our lifelines connecting East End to West Bay, Cayman to Little Cayman, and the Cayman Islands to the world.
It established the route to get our children to school, keep our hospitals powered, and support our businesses every day.
Through hard work, ingenuity, and perseverance, people make that happen.
From the early pioneers who paved the first paths and laid the first pipes,
To the innovators who modernize water, energy, telecoms, ports, and our airport.
they're the quiet hands that build resilience.
And the vision that keeps Cayman going strong.
Now it's our turn to recognize them. Know someone who built, maintained, or improved the Cayman Islands we love?
Nominate them today at gov.ky/YSCH. Click Nominate today.
It's very important that I actually, what did I do, Donnie? Yeah. It's very important that I share that with you, because that deadline is tomorrow. That deadline is tomorrow. And you got to know, we've been playing it here. Sandra has been playing it. It has gotten a lot of circulation. So I'm really hoping that this is one Heroes Day celebration that people we won't hear, oh, well, why was this one overlooked? I'm really, really hoping that they will capture everybody at this, and we don't ever hear that. So yeah, but tomorrow is the deadline. Now let's get into it. I told you we want to pretty much break down what to be expected tomorrow. Parliament convenes, and today's episode is actually unpacking what is to be expected. But in order for you to understand exactly, I felt it was a need for me to do an episode breaking down the SPS, what this statement means, what it means when you talk about parliamentary privileges, and just talk about the standing orders, because a lot of you really have said, I don't listen because I don't understand. It's so boring. It is like that because you don't understand the jargon. But this is a very important sitting of the House, because it's when the government is actually putting before and tabling on the floor of Parliament what their plans will be for this budget cycle. Those plans will impact your life. And then the next sitting will more than likely be in November sometime, for the budget, the financing of exactly what they're presenting. So the mere fact that if you're in tune and you hear what they're proposing for their blueprint, then you actually listen then to the finance when they table their budget, you will be able to see whether or not it's just words on a piece of paper, or whether or not you can identify how they're allocating the budgets for certain ministries to align with them being able to deliver. And then you may say, well, how are they going to deliver? That's where and why you have to stay tuned, because then who's responsible for delivering is the key. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Good evening. I just called in to say good evening, because I know some people don't like to hear my big mouth, but I got call you beautiful pink rose. You look like a rose.
Thank
today,
you so much.
It's a song about yellow rose, but you're not yellow. You're beautiful pink.
Thank you.
But I just want to say hello, and I'm making sour soft drink and sour popsicles. Would you wish some?
I will love a popsicle.
And listen, I just want what happened to Mr. Jim? I don't hear him. I miss him.
Remember, Jim was away for 5 weeks. I think he's winding down right now. Connie's in depression. Me and her, we've already attended. Oh, for the record, we've had our legal representatives draft up the divorce papers. So yeah, it's two things, because I didn't realize.
I know he was away, but I thought he had said 2 3. He got good vacation.
He gone 5 weeks, so it looks as though he's also responsible and will be charged for bigamy, because I didn't know he was married to her as well. So he's going to get 2 sets of divorce papers.
I beat him for that. I was good with that. One way. Like I tell Mr. Burns one time, and he come in about his wife, this Cuban wife. I tell him, I say, sir, the only wife you had was Miss Celia, and the rest in the eyes of God and in the eyes of the people. She dead, but that's your only wife. The rest is your concubine.
Yep. So Connie has said, I've divorced him, so hers is done. I guess I got to check mine. I got to give him a call.
And he
So,
said,
yeah.
But you know, you're right, miss. He said, you know, I tell him that right out in the office house, the one. Then he come up and joke, because I used to serve him all the time, and he go in Cuba, and he remember me and come hug me up, and then he say, we'll go in, look for your wife. And I say, but your wife dead. He said, then I said, but Mr. Burns, no disrespect, but in the eyes of God, I said, because they say, tell that to our spot, and you're married to Miss Celia. I said, so whether dead or alive, she is your wife in the eyes of, well, me, and I guess other things like that, which I'm not saying that's right. But in the eyes of God, I said, you can marry 50 more times if you're good to go. But there you concubine. You had one wife.
Mm-hmm. There we
That
go.
would like me if I speak the truth. I don't care. They say the truth. My mother taught me the truth is set you free. If you're telling lies, you got to remember the lie that you tell 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. If you tell it and change it, that's how you get hang, how you get catch.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, but he's away for 5 weeks. I think he's winding down now.
No, but I was just wondering if you were okay, because I know he's one of the regulars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Connie says he can't come back.
I like to hear he got good inputs and good sense and knowledge and good. And he's not critic.
Nope.
That's why, like,
Love him. Love him. We love him. We love him. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
You too. Yeah, too.
I put them to freeze yet, because, you know, for the old back, I got it mixed up and stuff. I don't blend it, gold and stuff in it, and it tastes very good.
I'll check you tomorrow. I'll check you tomorrow.
It's a little bit, because, you know, the old back, the leg not bad is the back, but we had the back broke. I get tired after standing up for a while, and then I feel like I'm feet away in the house, sit down a little bit, and then
You take your time. You take your time.
I don't get up and go. And I young no more, you know, Sabrina, I'm 71 now, and I feel high my age.
It's just a number. It's just a number. Nobody believes me when I tell them I'm 51, going to be 52.
Well, me neither, but then I feel older than that, believe me.
Yep.
I feel older. But that was telling myself, making me look it, but the parts are retiring now, the way out.
Anyhow, thank you for sharing.
The day he said, you look the same from about 20, 30 years ago. He said that. I know you. I say, yeah, but sir, I'm 71. My aunt used to hide her age, but she said 2 things. You don't tell people not your age and your money. But my mother, you know how old she was when she was 88. She was saying she was 70 odd. Now my daughter's sister born on one.
Right.
But I spoke to kill her because she used to drink plenty.
Aye. Thank you for sharing with us. A little later. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Sure. There we go. Shelma, the one and only. Connie, even Shelma's having Jimbo's withdrawals. So we're all having Jim withdrawals. Oh my goodness. It is. I'm quite sure he will have some real good laughter when he realizes how much he's missing. That says how close to connected we are in this space. It means a lot. And it shows that we are aware and we become one family here. That's why it's so good for us to impart and share. And you're welcome to actually comment. And when we don't see you, we miss you. Hi, Jasara. How are you? Good evening to you, my sweet. It's always good to have you here as well. Now, let's get into the SPS before we just get off track again, because I want you to understand exactly what this is and why it's important. And the SPS, you will hear me refer to that, is what you call the Strategic Policy Statement. And it is under Section 23(1) of the Public Management and Finance Act. Now you understand why it's tied in to the budget. The SPS is required under the Public Management and Finance Act. And it is just not a document, you know. It's not a document. It's really your elected arm, your government, the sitting government's promise. It is their plan. It is their priorities, which should ultimately be your priorities if they campaign and they listen to you and they took the feedback and everything like that, right? Pretty much it's the blueprint for how they intend to spend your money, public's money, and shape public life over this budget period. And we understand that the budget cycle now will cover 2026, and 2027. Okay. So even though they're in a term for 4 years, what this strategic policy statement, and it'll give, some of these will spill over into the other half of the 4-year term, but this statement actually will be for over this budget period. But here's, hello, the meeting on the 15th at 2 p.m. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but we will also, so I'm going to have to listen. It'll probably run into, it shouldn't be that long though, Miss Marjorie, because what happens, and I'll get into that, what we're expecting to happen. Remember now, this is what they're going to be tabling. I'll tell you who to look out for in this first sitting, because remember now, the opposition, neither yourselves, us, the public, knows exactly what's in this document, and it can't be spoken of publicly because it hasn't been tabled. Yeah, that's the catch. Once it's tabled in Parliament, then it can be discussed publicly. And you may ask why. That is just how the system is. It becomes official once it's tabled. But before that, it's still considered draft. Any drum can beat, any tune can play. And based on listening to you, maybe something that they thought was a priority, it could be environmental impacts, it could be anything that could actually change course. If they're actually talking about it before it's actually tabled, then, it's not official. And by law, ministers actually can't speak about it publicly until it is laid on the floor of Parliament. And that's why it's called tabling. So when this document is formally introduced into the House of Parliament, it becomes a part of public record. You may say, well, all of them are elected, so why don't the opposition get sight of this before? Yeah. Sometimes you'll hear utterances, but really and truly, at the end of the day, understanding the governance around the document, that's something you want to hold because of the very nature of the document that is actually in law. And why? The less people know about it, the better it is until it's tabled and becomes a public document. Now, Caymanians should care deeply about what's inside the strategic policy statement. And you need to be looking at whether or not the document is fair. Is it balanced? You've heard me say that here. Is it sustainable? Meaning, is it real, or is it just to make you happy, but then it's not funded, which is why you have to connect the two with the document. And then when Finance Committee starts, then you make sure you're looking that the necessary funding is there. You don't want it to be a case where it's just glossy promises that sound good, but then can't be delivered, especially for our vulnerable, especially for the working class, especially for the next generation who are feeling that we're just going too fast and they're not feeling included. And for those who most are in need. But right now, with the temperature that I'm feeling, that we're seeing, here we go. There, I tell you, I'm getting a signal from my from my Facebook feed, looks like. So if Facebook people, I'm just going to ask you to jump over. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. But if it's anything, just go over to the YouTube channel. Then I don't have any problems with YouTube. But this is what happens. Sometimes the show comes up live on a reel, but you can't go wrong if you follow me on YouTube. And that's just a warning to the wise. But let me get back on. It's so disruptive. We try to reach you, and I can't wait for us to continue to grow in this space, that we're on radio, that you have options. But so far, in case you're looking directly on my channel and you're having any issues, you can also go over to YouTube as well, and of course all the CMR platforms. But we're having some glitches. It's just the nature of the beast. Okay. So what you're looking on is making sure that this document is actually going to cover all classes of people. Because once this is actually tabled and funded, which comes next, it's the civil servants. It's the civil servants, not politicians, who will carry it out. You understand what I just said? Once this SPS is tabled tomorrow, and they're going to fund it in and around November, we don't know what date. It's the civil servants' job then, not the politicians, to carry it out. And that's where the national budget comes in, because it's expected, as I said, in November, and it's the financial engine that drives the SPS forward. But in order to enact it, that's where the operational arm of government, your civil servants, not the politicians, will carry it out. Okay? So think of the strategic policy statement as Cayman's master plan for this sitting administration, for this budget cycle, even though there will be spillovers for the entire 4 years. But right now, what they will be presenting, they would be expected to make sure that they have adequate funding in order for what they're putting on the paper, and it's just not gloss, okay? So let me just make sure I keep up with y'all here. Yep, that's 2 p.m., and I'll be sharing the link as well, Miss Marjorie. Lisa, good evening. Oh, thank you so much. I'm trying to do my best, pulling out everything I got pink as we honor Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but thank you so much. I'm doing my best here to making sure that we don't speak it. We also actually show it in how we conduct ourselves. My nails, I got the whole veterans remembrance. I'm wearing my poppy. That's even in the back, and I'm celebrating the season, as you can see. So interesting, but thank you so much for noticing. Let's continue on now with the rules of Parliament. Let's look into that. And if you're following me so well so far, and it's clear that we understand what the strategic policy statement, I can't go into what it will entail because no one knows. But heavily discussed was immigration reform. And in some of what the Premier, or what you should be listening to coming out from the Premier tomorrow once it's tabled, is exactly how in detail they're going to go about the great immigration reform. They will probably go into what measures are in place for health, what they're going to be doing, or what plans the minister will be. There'll be sprinkles of everything from every ministry. What's in store for finance, for our tourism minister. What is in store as well from our youth, sports, culture, and development. There's sprinkling of little dusts that they will say. There will be an opportunity as well. Sometimes it's all decided whether or not each member of the government will speak. But bearing in mind that at some point in time, the opposition will have their opportunity as well to debate, ask further questions, maybe give suggestions so that it is fair and balanced. So yeah, it will be interesting about that. So these are some of the things that you would be listening out to hear what ministries will be putting in this document. And of course, very high level, it would be expected for the Premier to actually speak, to be inclusive, to have nuggets from each ministry from a national perspective as to what you can expect, that hopefully is people-centric, fair, balanced, not lopsided to either developers or those, the haves, and not necessarily for everyone. That's what we're looking for a balance. So let's talk about the standing orders now, and orders, what that is. You may say, well, what is that? It's really the rules of Parliament game. Sometimes, yeah, it is almost like a game. But I take it very serious, and I think you should be too, because remember now, Parliament is your voice. When our members, elected members of Parliament, go to the House of Parliament, they are your voice. They are actually, that's where you have your power. Remember, in an earlier episode, I was telling you that. Remember that episode about the Auditor General's report that I explained it to you, how in there works? Well, the standing orders are the procedural rules that pretty much governs the operation of Parliament. And they cover from everything, let me tell you, from speaking when, and that you can find that under standing order number 14. And in regards to standing order 24, standing order 24, how motions are even tabled. And then you got standing order 32, how debates are conducted. And it's quite interesting how that actually, the rules of speaking and when not to speak and what decorum and all of that sort of stuff. These are the rules of the parliament. They decide who speaks, when they speak, even how long they speak. And usually each person is given 2 hours. Yeah. And really, this also says what can be said and what can't. Like there's just certain language you cannot use in Parliament. You can't. And it is for the duty of the Speaker to call that out in accordance to standing orders. So should a member of government challenge the Speaker for saying, you are robbing me of my rights, by right, the Speaker should be able to refer to the standing orders to say, well, in accordance to standing order, whatever number, subsection, whatever, this is what gives me the right to say you're out of order because it says whatever, it's that he or she may be in breach of. So think of it almost like a football match where you've got players, a referee, and a rule book. The standing orders is the rule book, okay? And if an MP breaks the rules, interrupts, even insults, or go off topic, the Speaker can or should, in accordance to the standing order, step in. In this case, like the football match, the Speaker is the referee. The Speaker of the Parliament maintains order, enforces the rules, and protects the dignity of the House. That is the role of the Speaker. And we all seen what can happen when certain debates can really, really go off and certain things are said. It's really the Speaker to hold those persons accountable in how they speak, because it is, remember now, when they speak in there, they're a representative of you. How they conduct themselves is a reflection of the constituency that elected them. How they behave is a reflection of their constituency. Yeah. So that's important. That's very important that you look at their conduct, you looked at how they actually present, because guess what? They represent you. I'm going to use me as an example. When I was there as the elected member for Prospect, I didn't speak for Sabrina. I didn't speak as Sabrina. I spoke in two roles. The ability and the noble, coming from a noble perspective of being given the opportunity to serve as a member of Parliament by the people of Prospect, but in a ministerial capacity, when I spoke on my ministerial responsibility, that represented the entire Cayman Islands. But still, in order for me to be in there to speak on national platform, I am the voice of every registered voter of Prospect, whether or not you voted for me, whether or not you are registered to vote, even those who are residing that will one day be registered voters. That's how I conducted myself on the floor of Parliament. And like I said, once the results are in, whether or not somebody voted for you, you are constitutionally bound to represent everyone. So when they speak and they go out of turn, sometimes you do this because you're like, oh my God, that's not a reflection of my household. That's not what I expect. But unfortunately, if they go off the chains, picture yourself being streamed all over the world, behaving like that. Yeah. And you may say, well, what the heck does this matter? Especially now, right? When you look at Mintine's order of the House, and you look at even what has transpired with the elected member for Bodden Town East, where he resigned from being a PPM member. That may actually weaken the opposition, PPM, brand. Weaken in a sense where numbers are concerned. And you may say, well, why now? Remember, the opposition plays a critical role. The opposition is there to scrutinize the strategic policy statement. And because Mr. Seymour departure now weakens the PPM's numbers, and his departure may shift the balance of the debate in a sense where on anything coming forward, because he's no longer have to vote along party lines of the progressives because of his resignation. Now, you may say why it matters, especially now. If he aligns with the ruling coalition, it could bolster their control over even the upcoming budget process. Yeah. So when you dig into all of this isn't just political theater, because who can beat their chest the loudest on the stage, who can sometimes are on the floor of Parliament. This is about your money. This is about your plans. This is about your future. This is how your money is spent, how your rights are protected, and really how the future for yourself and your children are shaped. Yeah. So tomorrow, when you sit down and you listen and what is expected then in tomorrow's sitting, when Premier Andre Ebanks tables the SPS, you should expect to hear, like I said, all of these things from the various ministries, what they plan to deliver, and who will be presiding as over it, of course, will be the Speaker of the House. And what will have an order paper that you will have ceremonial speeches, you will have different things. I will try to see if I can get a copy to post that, what an average order paper looks like. That's what you call the order paper, is what we would call like the agenda of the day. And then you will have more than likely at some point, the premier will rise and formally table the document of the SPS, and then the chairman, the speaker, will ask whether or not he wishes to speak hereto. And at that point in time, he will say yes, and it's expected then for him to be outlining key points. Now, the speaker will be overseeing the process, ensuring that decorum and fairness, like in the middle of the delivery of the speech, if something just riles up the opposition, why are they going through with that? It sounds as what is in that? We're not going to get this East-West arterial, or no, what you mean AI? They didn't have enough consultation with us. They have to maintain decorum. And that's where then the referee, the speaker, comes in if should something come out that is not nationally or something that is nationally sensitive, and people may say, well, why is that packed into that document when it feels as though we're not listened to? And that's where a lot can come about. But the opposition will have their opportunity to debate whatever is delivered at some point. Yeah. So if you ever wondered why the ministers speak so formally in Parliament, but casually in Finance Committee meeting, I shared why. Because it's all there in the standing orders that pretty much Parliament is a more formal setting, and Finance Committee is a more casual. If you notice, they don't stand when they speak in Finance Committee, but definitely when it comes to Parliament, everyone must press their mic. And the first person, let's say multiple people stand, the speaker has to constantly be panning the room to see if anybody, because the guys, they hold up their hand or wave or shout, or, decorum is key. And I would challenge anyone who have never actually gone in to see a sitting of the House to one day just go and sit down. You go upstairs. Of course, your attire out of respect for the place. No shorts, no open, no tank tops, that sort of stuff. You should be wearing closed shoes unless, of course, you have an injury, but flip-flops are not permitted. So we don't want anybody in short shorts or swimsuits, that sort of stuff. If you're going to be sitting in the gallery, you need to respect the place. Yeah. But I would challenge you to just go in just to observe for yourself at some point in time. And if you can't, of course, observe it, you can log on live for the live feeds, but it's totally different feeling when you're there in person. And how our Parliament is set up, you're actually right there. Like if you look over, you're not supposed to lean over the railing. You're supposed to be seated, sit back, and you just observe the proceedings. And it's quite interesting. So they use formal language when they speak in Parliament, and then again, that is also reflected under the dignity of the House. And you can find those under, if you grab yourself a copy or you Google the standing orders, that you can find that under Standing Order 40 of the standing orders. Yeah. The presiding officer is responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the House and the committees of the whole House, respectively. And the presiding officer decisions upon point order shall not be open to appeal. So there's a whole, the enforcement of the order, the breaches of the order, rules of members not speaking. Members present in the chamber during the debate shall enter and leave with decorum, meaning you have to bow, even if you want to go to the restroom, like before you just get up from your seat and just get up and walk out. No, you should stand, try to get the speaker's attention, bow, and then the speaker acknowledges, they will bow, and then you exit. And before you actually pull the door to leave the chamber itself, you need to look at the speaker again and bow, again, getting their attention. Normally they will follow you and they acknowledge you. That's actually saying, yes, it's good to go. And then you leave. Same thing when you enter, you catch the speaker's attention. Sometimes they can't, but you acknowledge because you've entered the chambers. You're acknowledging and you bow and you then make your way. Hopefully you're not crossing someone who's actually speaking, because you can see how that goes on camera. And when you even get back to your respective seat, before you sit, you should acknowledge the speaker and bow. And again, it's exchange. So it's quite interesting. And rules of members not speaking. Debate, when they're speaking, members present in the chamber during a debate shall enter and leave with decorum, not read books, newspapers, letters, or documents unless they relate to the business before the House, maintain silence while other members are speaking. Now, we know that don't happen. I've had persons try to interrupt me a number of times when I was speaking on the floor, and you really just got to focus. You got to focus and not interpret except in accordance with standing orders, and in all other aspects conduct themselves in a seemly manner. So these are all of the rules for members not speaking at the time, how they should behave themselves. And it's quite interesting in these because it's right there, to be honest, for you to pick up on it. So they are, when you say, well, what is that? We said it's a rule book for those of you just joining us. They're pretty much the scaffolding, like, when you're securing it, the building blocks for our democracy. And the standing orders determine who speaks, when, and how. And if the public doesn't understand them, guess what? If you don't understand it, you wouldn't understand manipulation, or you wouldn't demand fairness. Yeah, so this is why it's important for me to bring this in small chunks so that you can be able to identify it. You can identify these certain things, because you just need to know what the rules are, and they're right there. They're right there. It's not that hard, And when you look at everything, a lot of the times I would say we behave pretty good. Pretty good. We behave very good, to be honest, in comparison to some other places where they actually really get bad. And we still have respect to a degree, but sometimes it all depends on the motion, the debate, what they're talking about, that you will hear some utterances. Sometimes you will laugh out, because what you don't hear is when the mics are off, some things are being said, and it can throw you off. Again, that's the nature of the game. But you have to program your mind that you're going to deliver and you are going to just remain focused. And it takes a lot to do that. So whenever the MPs pretty much are speaking, they must stand, they must address the speaker. They can't be speaking to the member directly, because remember, you're speaking through the Speaker of the House. And there shouldn't be any shouting, no interrupting. And if an MP speaks out of turn or insults another member, they're violating the rule. And guess what? That's a red flag. That's a red flag. Remember what I was speaking about earlier on? That's a red flag. So even in debates and stuff and voting and decisions, you know, when you may hear people after the, okay, yes, interesting. Once this SPS is tabled and the premier speaks on it, they're going to ask to vote on it, whether or not, you know, they can stand. And sometimes you will hear when they're voting on a bill or they're voting on something, a speaker can, an MP can use what is called like standing orders, I think 38, where you can call for a division. What is a division? It means that you ask for persons to play their hand as to how they are going to vote. And then each individual member of the House has to say how they vote. And if that is called and you're not in your seat, by right, you shouldn't participate, or you can't. And this is why it's important on key things for either side that members remains in their seats. Because once the voting starts, if you're not in your seat or not in the chamber, you can't participate. And that could be something that you miss out on, that your constituents may feel strongly about. And then because for whatever reason, you weren't in your seat, for whatever reason, your people that have elected you to serve do not have a say on the direction or don't know exactly how you voted for them. So when an MP votes and they called a division, what the clerk of Parliament do is records who voted and how. And those then you say yay or, you know, aye or abstain. Abstain meaning you are neither here, you don't want to vote, you're not going to vote on it, or you say no. So yes, what to watch for is the votes that aren't recorded properly, and the legitimacy of the decisions can also be questioned by you. Like, you have every right to ask your representative, well, when this, for example, SPS was tabled, why weren't you in the seat? Why didn't I hear your vote? You know, they may think, well, okay, it's only me. Or they may say, well, it doesn't matter because my government has the numbers anyhow. But no, I want my representatives' decision to represent all of the people to be recorded, but you weren't there. You were absent or you weren't in the chamber. Why? So this is why it is important for all of ministers to remain in their seats, or elected members should remain in their seats. And, you know, it is quite interesting because we have seen where certain hot topics, certain members of Parliament just are MIA. And you kind of wonder why. Are you being disenfranchised when that happens? Yeah. So at the end of the day, plain and straight, good evening. And good to see you here. Marjorie agrees. We have a great speaker of the House of Parliament. I'm just making sure I have you think. Miss Marjorie, I hope Miss Romelli gets some help for all her projects. She only means great for Cayman. And Miss Lou, please, as long as a fight will be, as long as no fight, it will be fine. I agree. I knew he would do that. John. Oh, you mean leave from the thing? Yeah, but it was a play. It was a move. It wasn't a play. Chelsea, good evening. Good to have you here. It was a caution. It's not a red flag yet. Let's see. So it is going to be quite interesting. And like I said, some of the red flags that you can see on the rule breaking are contained in our standing orders. Like, when an MP interrupts another one without permission, if a document is discussed before it's even tabled, again, if debates go off topic or get even personal, that's rules that can break. Those are rules that they don't apply. And if votes aren't properly recorded is also rule breaking. If an MP speaks before even taking an oath, and in this case, they don't have to, but if let's case somebody has to be brought in, they have to be sworn in and take an oath. Yeah. So these are some of the things that you can look out for in regards to tomorrow. And I'm really, really hoping that a lot of us who can find the time will actually tune in. And if a member of parliament starts grandstanding or attacking each other or even ignoring the rules, that's when you, the public, should really, really pay attention. Because when the standing orders are actually ignored, democracy starts to wobble, and we don't want that, So yeah, and you may then say, well, what happens when the rules are broken? What happens next? I got a notice here of my Instagram. Hold on, just bear with me. You know what? Let me take a little break. Let me try to get start this, because when I come back, I'm gonna talk about this whole parliamentary privileges, how people's lives can just be ruined on lies just because they're protected by parliamentary privileges, and what happens when rules are really broken. So stick and stay with me. I'll be right back.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage is pleased to announce that the nominations for the 2026 National Recognition Awards are now open. Nominate individuals and groups who played a key role in developing the Cayman Islands' physical infrastructure. The categories include landmark leaders, infrastructure innovators, and the builders of Cayman. Visit gov.ky/YSCH. Click on the nominate button to make a nomination. Here is a step-by-step guide to fill out the form. Before starting, please read the instructions, the award categories, and the eligibility criteria. Step 1. Enter your personal information and select the award category for the person or group you are nominating. Click Yes to confirm that your nominee meets the criteria. Step 2. Enter the nominee's full name, date of birth, and district. Indicate their current status, whether living or deceased, and ensure you have the current contact information for your nominee and their next of kin. Fill out the submission detail and provide any supporting documents and a reference to support your nomination. Step 3. Review your submission and make any changes by clicking the previous button. When you are ready, confirm and agree to the terms and click Submit Form to make your nomination. A thank you notice will confirm that the nomination was received, and a copy of the application will be sent to your email. Your nomination will be reviewed and considered by the National Recognition Awards Committee, and only successful nominees will be contacted and recognized at next year's National Heroes Day ceremony. The deadline to make a nomination is October 15. Remember, you can submit multiple nominations or browse our frequently asked questions by visiting the National Recognition Awards tab at gov.ky/YSCH. We look forward to receiving your nomination.
And welcome back. I think I got Instagram back up, and also whatever was going on also on Facebook. So it's weird what's going on. Miss Lucille, funny. Yeah, sounds like you're having class tonight to see who's going to pass the test tomorrow. Well, hey, you can't say that I'm not sharing it with you. You can't say that I'm not here doing my best to break it down, because having been there and you hear some talks after the fact, it's pretty sad. And then you ask persons, have you listened to the last parliamentary sitting? They're like, no, I don't have time for it, or they just speak too long. This is critical, because we're seeing where discussions on forums like this on Sandra's show, where we're hearing the frustration of building, where people are feeling that they're left out. And this is why I felt it was important for me to hold a segment of Sabrina Speaks of this nature, so that it can break it down for you. As boring as this may actually seem to you, it will make sense after tomorrow. So you don't know. I'm preempting, I'm preparing you, for what's to come, so that it's easily, you can understand it better when it's actually presented. So let's look then at the disciplines or the disciplinary actions, and, when MPs violate standing orders, what happens to those? Because it is really rests in the hands of the speaker when those rules are broken. And let's be honest, the rules aren't just to look pretty. They're to protect fairness, order, and public trust. And when they are actually ignored, it really makes you question, what's the sense? But like I said, who is the enforcer? The Speaker of the House is the enforcer. He's the referee. And he controls, like I said at the beginning, who speaks, no interruptions, no insults, nothing like that. And you can't, by interrupting another MP, you're disrespecting the speaking order. When you use offensive language, you're undermining decorum. When you're refusing to, let's say, even withdraw a statement because you say something that was so out of line, that you're actually defying the speaker. When you're found yourself then disobeying the speaker's ruling, that's grounds for suspension. And then speaking without permission, that's outright just a breach of protocol. So if you see a speaker shouting, or not a speaker, a member of parliament shouting or refusing to sit, or even, God forbid, attacking another member, it's not just drama, it's a breach of the rules. It's not just entertaining, it's a breach of the rules. And this is why your standing orders is so important. Now, the disciplinary actions can be from a verbal warning where the speaker may caution the member of parliament. They can also, disciplinary action can include that an order, for example, to withdraw, where the MP must retract their statement, and that's handed down by the Speaker of Parliament. And then it could lead to a suspension. Yeah, the MP can be suspended for a sitting or even longer based on how egregious the act is that was committed. Now, when that happened, your voice then, your representation by that member of parliament is suspended, is done, because then they're not there representing that constituency. And the disciplinary actions can go as far as even ejections. The speaker can order the sergeant of arms to remove an MP from the chamber and off the grounds. Now, really and really, that would be a real bad offense that has happened. So suspensions or any of those disciplinary actions isn't just symbolic. I think you need to look at this holistically. It silences that member of parliament's voice in the debate and also voting. And like I alluded to earlier on, that's serious, because then your voice becomes muted. Your representation becomes null and void. So you may say, well, what can you do? And if you're believing that your member of parliament, the person that you've elected, has violated the rules and their position, you can actually, and you want to find out, well, how egregious this was beside listening for it yourself and all that sort of stuff, you can watch the proceedings, the official record of parliament. You can ask for copies of the Hansards and look for inconsistencies or breaches if you're seeing where this is a continuous pattern of an individual, or in this case of a member of parliament. You can request for members for copies of the Hansards. There's a process for that at the House of Parliament. You can also write the speaker. Yes, you can. Citizens can formally submit their concerns. Mhm. And in addition to that, citizens can engage the ombudsman. If you feel that this is just too much and these are all actually what you can do for issues involving public and maladministration. You can engage with the ombudsman. And also you can use mediums such as this. You can write op-eds, you can post on social media, but then if you want something to stick, the three, you can watch the Hansards, you can write the speaker, you can engage with the ombudsman, and outright good old home, you can just demand accountability and ask your MP to explain their conduct. Because democracy isn't just about voting, it isn't just about the campaign time, it's about vigilance. And you're seeing something. If you see something is wrong, then say it. Yeah. Because, at the end of the day, they're your representative. So rules aren't just for MPs. They're for every one of us. And because when Parliament loses order, you, the people, lose power. Yep. So I'm breaking it down. There's a reason for every episode. Sabrina Speaks family, you may say this isn't making sense. Trust me, it will. You will appreciate these episodes. And thank God on Facebook and on YouTube, you can go back to every episode that they're there. Our websites now on the cmrtv.com will be there, and every episode will be there. There's a reason for it. There is a reason for it. And it will make sense at the end of the day. This is a source of knowledge and information for you. And if you don't catch it when I'm live, you can always go back. And that's what I love with podcasts. There's not been one episode that I haven't played back to see if there are action items and takeaway. I am behind on some of the subjects, some of the takeaways, because some of them, doing a solo show, it wouldn't make sense. I love impact. I love emphasis when I can get subject matter experts or persons who can actually talk on it. And even though I would be able to deliver it as a solo, neutral person, I want emphasis. I want people who are actually in the know on certain matters to actually engage with you on this platform. As we continue to grow, people will see the need for this and they will actually avail themselves. And I think it's appropriate for me to just say thank you to all the persons who have availed themselves, because they understand and they see the purpose of this space. They understand the vision and the mission. Yeah. So if you think it's not going to make sense, trust me, it will. It will. And eventually you will catch on. Let's go to some of the comments. Miss Marjorie, PL time. Kenneth, he says the same things over and over in different words. Oh my God, that's when I take MT. A bathroom break. Again, whenever he's speaking for emphasis, and you will find a number of them repeat it. A lot of times you will find me here repeating stuff too. But usually there's a part 2. In some case, a part 3. And again, parliamentary privileges, which is, I'm going to go in plain language with that. What it protects, how it can be abused, and where the line should be drawn. I'm going to go into that right next, because that is actually the shield and sword of members of parliament once they're in parliament, Yeah. And what they say, can't do a darn thing. Denver, good evening. How are you? That's all fine and dandy. The speaker controls the House. What's really bothering is the public does not know where our government is investing our money, and the non-proper procurement of contracts that our government is spending money on unknown to the public. Well, Denver, I'm hoping that, as I pointed out here, that some of these questions, and you can escalate them up. But let's see, Denver, you've actually made some serious poignant points there. And yes, we are hearing that in you're seeing fiscal responsibility, you're seeing accountability, and we're seeing a distrust in what I'm getting from your comment from those who we have elected to serve. And the damning and scathing report of reality in the Auditor General reports actually confirms what you're saying here. Now, how is it corrected? What are our members of Parliament going to do to show you that, one, that report, as brutally honest as it has been, that they are going to put the necessary policies, laws in place, accountability in place that will actually resolve some of these issues, so that at no point awards can't be given unless they go through a process. And I'm hoping that with this being so up and forward right now, that we will see where an effort is actually being made for the operational arm to stop that abuse, really is what it is, and actually a breach in laws in Denver. So you're quite right. PM, Denver project in Georgetown Post Office was such an extravagance. A little bit that I know on that, and I've addressed that here before, and I think the representative for Georgetown Central has actually said it once or twice too. When we took elected office in 2021, whatever was actually signed off where procurement and contractual agreements were concerned in regards to the revitalization of Georgetown, you couldn't undo them. And there are just certain belts and braces that are put in place with some of these contracts and these projects that even in next administration, you can't do anything. Quite similar to what I'm hearing with the school in the BRAC. Yeah. Remember, I wasn't there when that was finalized, and there were certain things that were put in place that you cannot. It's signed, sealed, delivered, slam, damn, dunk. You can't overturn it. You can't. Then the country could be sued by the contractors. So yeah. Hey, Ms. Rose. Better late than never, my sweet. Always good to have you here. So that's quite interesting. And I know, as infuriating as that is, maybe there will be some commentary made on that by the Minister of Education. Denver, I'm hoping that somebody is listening and they can actually add in some pieces of that to what they're going to present on the floor that will gain public trust in moving forward, so that we're not looked at as though, well, these rules are here. I hear what you say in TD, but they're not being followed. Yet we continue to see our country's purse hemorrhaging for mismanagement, no accountability. So let's hope that this is a new dawn, that this administration will actually take the action items away, take some of the recommended suggestions from the former Auditor General's report, which I campaigned on as well. And I know it was the stance of the TCCP that those recommendations would be actually considered, bearing in mind now the coalition cabinet consists of 3 independents, 3 CINP, and 2 TCCP. I can only give account for what the TCCP campaigned on. So the majority of the TCCP's mandate in regards to fiscal financial responsibility, taking the recommendations of the Auditor General as to how your monies are spent, you only have 2 representatives right now in your cabinet that can say, well, that was a part of my manifesto. This is what we all campaigned on. I can't speak for the 3 independents. I can't speak on behalf of the CINP. I'm only telling you what was here. Now, because it is the dynamics is as it is with those 8 elected members, and it's in the best of public interest and of national importance, Denver, we're hoping that maturity will prevail, and they will understand it doesn't matter under who, that they all have a responsibility now to take these recommendations when it comes to fiscal, financial responsibility and accountability for how our monies, the people's monies, is being spent. And they will actually put policies in place that will actually have, in the next Auditor General's report, seeing where true remedies have been started and or legislation has been put in place or policies have been put in place as recommended, and then show where the benefits of the introduction of the new legislation or policies will actually limit, if not outright rule out, any more misdoing, wrong actions as declared in that Auditor General's report. So it's going to be interesting. Lucille, remember to go to school and teacher is there teaching, but that doesn't say we are going to learn. Well, my conscience sets me free. And for those who have other questions, 936-8255, you can always message me. I'm sharing with you even some of the laws that is there. It's quite easy, actually. It's right there. And everything now available online, Miss Lucille, it's right there. Trust me. Denver. Marjorie Randreep Bancroft, that project was not so extravagant. There's much more to be done with the Georgetown revitalization unknown to most of the general public. Well, let's hope. Remember now, the Georgetown Central MP is not in the government. But because of what I alluded to earlier on, unless it has to be funded based on what I was privy to. The other phase of it, not understanding the funding side of things, if the contract says that you can't be reversed, then it has to be funded whether or not you want it or not. Now, this is where I guess the legal minds will come in looking at maybe an exit clause of any contracts that it could have been entered into. Who's to tell? But it's for them now to say, well, how much is enough? Is it more infrastructure works so that you can get more freedom of movement? Are we going to get more lives? Is there rezoning of those buildings that I know was heavily talked about? Rezoning in a sense where some that's commercial now can also be residential so that it brings life back to the capital, because we're seeing where they're trying to make a comeback. But I could be honest with you, Denver, and I know some people may get after me for this, but that is why I read the whole Sunday trade law. And that's why I did an entire episode on that, because what we're seeing now with entrepreneurs and business owners and all those wanting to embark on business, you may actually have to look at the Sunday trades law for all of that as well. But this is of national importance, and it should be something that should be brought to you, the people, before our trajectory is actually put or rubber stamped without your input. Not government funding. Public participation is developing to enhance the area. Not government funding. Public participation is developing to enhance the area. Yeah, but let me tell you, how much does the people have to say in regards to that, Denver? I mean, is there a big blueprint that can probably be made in the public's domain besides what they did at the post office? And it would be up to the Georgetown Central elected member, where all of this is happening right now, is happening in his constituency. That may be a project that he may want to embark on to see and have some candid conversations with the sitting administration as to where these plans are, what it entails, how will it impact the businesses, how it will impact his constituency, and is it a priority for this administration for continuity? If so, then the bigger question is what reaches. So Denver, it's going to be interesting. Many, many more low and mid-range housing for Caymanians is urgent. Again, these are some of the things that you look out for from the Parliament, from the speech that will be presented. And should each minister decide to speak for their respective ministries and tie it into the strategic policy statement at some point, those are all of the things, Mr. Marjorie, that you listen to hear what is in plan that could address mid-range housing for us Caymanians, Caymanian ownership for homes. And then you're not only hearing it in the strategic policy statement, but then you got tuned back in November to see how much funding they're actually giving to it. And now if the ingredients and the atmosphere or the environment is just ripe for it, then the execution and the delivery of it that meets the public satisfaction rests on the operational arm of government, and that's our civil servants. So let's talk a little bit now about parliamentary privileges. I'm going to try to be as candid as possible, as plain language, and as I can as well. And when you talk about parliamentary privileges, that is powerful. That's a powerful thing, let me tell you. Because what the parliamentary privileges actually allows a member of parliament to speak freely in the House without any fear whatsoever of being sued. They can speak freely in the House without being sued. They can name names. They can expose scandals. They can make bold claims, all under legal protection. It doesn't even have to be true. They are protected. So that means they can say anything that sounds good. They're protected. Who's buying it though? Parliamentary privileges. Stick with the topic. So then you go wonder, with all of these grandstandings and what is being said sometimes and all of the gestures and all of that and all of the allegations and all the smoke signals and all. It allows an MP to speak freely without fear of being sued. They can name names. They can expose scandals. They can make bold claims, all under legal protection. But with that great privilege also comes great responsibility, you know. But if they ain't got nothing to lose, they can say whatever they want. Who they're accusing, whose scandals they're exposing on the outside that don't have that privilege are the ones who has to push their carts in the grocery stores, who have to still operate their businesses, not understanding the perception that it leaves on an individual or a business or a family or a child because they want their heyday. That privilege comes with great responsibility. And when MPs use that privilege to mislead, defame, or distract, they're abusing the shield. And the shield in this case is parliamentary privileges. And that's when you must step in. How, you may ask? By watching, by questioning, and holding them accountable. Well, you say, Sabrina, Christ, what are you talking about? You say they're protected. What's the sense? You got to live with the impacts of that, you know. The Constitution guarantees freedom of speech in the Parliament. But what it also demands is integrity. What the Constitution also demands is transparency and respect for the rule of law. So if you see MPs using privilege to attack rather than to inform, oh, I know who gonna be proud of me today. Red flag. Yeah. I got it. I got an amber one. But that, see, I got a red flag. So if you are seeing your MPs using that privilege to attack rather to inform, and some of them are great with word salads. Oh my goodness. They sounded like some of those guys who didn't want to be fined at the Veterans Gala. I mean, they were a word salad. It's a red flag. And if something goes off in your stomach, that's something not right. Trust me, trust it. So I want to just really just go into it. Yeah, lip service. Yep. Marjorie, many. Okay, Denver. I've already saw that one. Denver, lip service. The general public accepts that. Is why so many elected officials get reelected. Well, I hope they realize why I just read. Because as long as they are protected on the floor of Parliament, some of them can ruin your lives. But I bet you they will be very silent outside of Parliament on certain subject matters. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm really talking about here is the powerful of the shield that every member of Parliament carries. They are shielded that can make your lives, your business, your livelihoods, even how you look at yourself, that can impact your mental well-being. And they're protected under parliamentary privileges. Exactly what Denver says, lip service. These parliamentary privileges is meant to protect free speech in the House. But then what happens when that protection is used to mislead and manipulate without consequences just because they are protected? Some of us would say, oh my God, they're so fool. Anything they want, oh yeah, just a call. They could get the $50, they could get the $100, don't care what I want, they could take care of me. They don't give two diddly squats what is said on the floor of Parliament, because once they call, they get paid to shut up. Lip service, then, as Denver alludes to. So this privilege, as defined in, and I'm going to pull this up here. Under the Parliamentary Privilege Act, you can find that under Immunities, Powers, and Privilege Act. It gives the MPs the legal right to speak freely in Parliament without any fear of being sued, prosecuted, or penalized for what they say. This includes accusations, criticism of public officials, disclosure of confidential information, and harsh or controversial opinions. In short, an MP can say almost anything on the floor of the House and walk away untouched. You see the power? You see the power? This is why you can't sell your vote. Because directly or indirectly, they're protected. And based on what they say, can leave an assumption that could actually ruin your life, mess up your income. And they can abuse that by making false or misleading claims about other MPs, about civil servants, about members of the public. And they're protected under that parliamentary privileges. So this is why it's good when somebody speaks that they can speak from a factual point, unless you're in Parliament. They can also plant seeds of doubt or deception to push a hidden agenda. This is how it can be abused, that protection, that shield, as I alluded to. And it can also stir public outrage without providing any form of evidence. They can name individuals in ways that damage their reputation without legal recourse. Now, if you think that ain't wild, if an MP says something defamatory in Parliament, you cannot sue them. And there's a reason why I'm repeating this. Not even if it's a lie. That, my friends, is the power and danger of privilege. So you may say, well, then where is the line then? The law protects the speech in Parliament, but not speech outside of it. And if an MP repeats the same statements outside the House, even if it's a different form, in media or social media platforms or in the public domain, they can be sued. This is your members of Parliament now. And also the Speaker can intervene if speech becomes abusive, but there's really no legal punishment unless it violates the House rules. So you will ask, well then, oh my God, how far is too far? When this privilege then actually becomes a weapon and not a shield. I bet you I got you thinking now. How far is too far? When the same parliamentary privilege becomes a weapon and not a shield. Damien, hey, how are you? Smokes and mirrors. What's on the label is not what's actually in the ingredients. There you go. Well said, Damien. You are so right. Yep. So how far is too far when the privilege becomes a weapon to innocent people who just out here, to businesses, to individuals? When it becomes a weapon and not a shield. What can be done? Well, you got the Human Rights Commission. And you got a call for the code of conduct to curb abuse. You can look at that as well. And, you can demand accountability through public pressure, but that's where us standing up as one, as unified Caymanians, unified individuals and residents. In this case, we don't even want to label as Caymanians. That's anyone could be impacted by this. And is it fair? And this is why we have to learn how to stand together. Because again, with this power, when that privilege becomes a weapon and not a shield, let me tell you something. If we don't stand together, it's not going to end well. And you can always file a complaint with the speaker or the ombudsman as well. But it may seem naked. You still may feel exposed. I'm just sharing with you the facts. One of the other things you could possibly do is push for ethics reform in the parliament as well, if you feel that it's not as strong as it should be. Because when you look at all of this privilege and this so-called shield that can be weaponized, used as a weapon against the very same people who've elected them to political office, privilege should protect truth and not enable mischief. And for emphasis, I'll have to repeat that. Privilege should protect the truth, not enable mischief, which aligns so well with Damien, smokes and mirrors. What's on the label is not what's actually in the ingredients. Yeah. So these are all of the things, and I know that's sobering for you because a lot of people don't realize the power and the protection that they have on the floor of Parliament. Now, in regards to what you should be looking out for as we switch gears now, because I knew that has to sink in a little bit, but we will bring it back up again. And if I see any things played out on the floor of Parliament, I would just use an example so that you will understand parliamentary privileges, what could protect somebody from saying what they say and nothing can be done. If I see something, I will try to crop it and play it over so that you will see, but I'm quite sure there are a number of examples that can be used and they're protected. Now, let's go into a little bit. We're not going to waste a lot of time on this because like I alluded to earlier on, what move, I call it now a political tremor. That was more a move and not a play where where the Bodentown East representative pretty much is no longer aligned with the Progressives. And with his resignation from the Progressives Party, let's term that as a political tremor. And it does matter. It matters to the Progressives, I can be honest with you, because they're one man down. Because when an MP leaves their party, they become an independent, as stated here and as conveyed in that letter. But You may wonder then, well, where they go sit? Where they go sit? And who decides that? Well, the speaker does. Of course, it's mutual because there are enough seats over there, pick, choose, and refuse. And seating arrangements on the floor of Parliament actually reflects political alignment in this case. And shifting seats could signal shifting power, whether or not you like it. That goes into a topic as to whether or not, a little bit, how far does your vote go when one crosses the aisle or not, and like what we're seeing here. But let's not get lost, because for you, the people who elect them, or in this case, the question is, did your voice get diluted? Because I'm hearing little utterance, not a lot. And worse, and who feels it the most, is for those who voted for a party platform in this case. Those person who voted for a party platform, and now with this resignation, they're now as an independent. This member at this time, until he says otherwise, stands alone as a member of Parliament, but no longer under the Progressives branding. Now, that doesn't mean that your vote was wasted, but it means that your expectations may need to shift, because it was a move, not a play. It doesn't warrant a red flag at this time. Okay? This move could weaken the party's influence, in this case, the Progressives. It will change, or could change, the voting dynamics, and it could actually affect how legislation is passed. And it's not just about seats, really and truly, it's about strategy. So this is just to educate you as to what could happen, and understanding the important role the opposition plays, because they are watchdogs. They are the watchdogs. The opposition really matters. Because what the opposition can do, they can propose amendments, they can challenge assumptions, and they can represent dissent, that they're not for it. And what they pretty much can do as well, they could amplify public concerns and offer sound alternatives. And also, citizens can support or pressure both sides. That's the power that you have. I'm getting thank you for that feedback. Most of Bodden Town East didn't want Dwayne aligned to no party. So for most of us, it was the best move. There you go. And this is why I love feedback. So here we go again. There we go. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that was one comment. So again, remember down there in the House of Parliament, he's not a minister. He represents the constituency of Bodden Town East. Thank you for confirming that. And I know who I got this from. They know. Oh, they know. So there we go. Well, that's probably why you're not having or hearing any uproar. Yeah. He is following the mandate of his people. Good for him. Good for him. So even though his departure does weaken the PPM's number and may even shift the balance of debates, if he's carrying out the mandate of his people, I don't wrong him. I don't wrong him. Remember now, where he sits, or where he sat under the Progressives labeling, it was the same salary. It was the same salary. So him now removing that branding obviously meets the will of his people, whom he was elected to represent. And being an independent in the same Parliament, no sweat off his back when it comes to income. It's the same salary. He gets more freedom, and I said this in an earlier episode. He gets more freedom to speak. He can come on in a platform when he wants. He doesn't have to ask permission from no party leader. He only needs to ask permission from his people. So at the end of the day, they want other persons out of there as well. So this could be interesting if we see members of the opposition who are, let's say, politically aligned with a party, taking their time and just removing. At the end of the day, it's a move. Whether or not it'll be a play at the end of the day, we don't know. But anyone in the opposition right now, let's say under the Progressives, that wants to no longer be under the Progressives branding or labeling or being an official member of the Progressives, they can do it. It's not going to turn over directly the functions of cabinet because your cabinet is still intact. What it signals is that I'm available. These are the skill sets that I bring to the table. If you want me, I am here. And then there's more chance of possibly, because they may switch sides. Bearing in mind now, you still do not have a cabinet that is comprised of any one majority party. It's a coalition cabinet. So I'm hoping that everything will hold until the SPS is presented, until we get a budget. And then if there's anything, watch the space. Good evening, caller. Welcome back.
Sabrina,
Yes, ma'am.
Listening, but this is why I got to say, okay, is his people that vote him in for Bordentown. So if they didn't want him aligned with a party, why he went against his people? That do make sense to me. So that will show that he not.
You mean during the elections? You mean during the elections?
Well,
I'm just asking.
I guess him have to tell him that. I don't know. And then maybe because if it were me, I would tell him because, like I said, well, I don't vote Bordentown, but they say we on the Bordentown. So this is why I'm saying it. But then people is saying, I didn't say it. But people call me and say things, and they say he like a whirly jumping from branch to branch.
Well, if people are saying they never wanted him in there in the first place, then the voting public.
He went with them, read it, and come out like.
But he wasn't a party member. He was not a party member at that time. He was more an alliance. But now, from what I'm understanding, hence his resignation, he became a full-fledged member of the party. All the other times he was not a member. There's a big difference. What he has done now, he has removed himself as a PPM party member.
Okay.
He's resigned. But from what I'm getting from the ground there is that his big supporters never wanted him. Look, you got to weigh the odds to getting reelected. And in the case of Bordentown East during the last election, it was either him or Robert Bodden who ran under the same ticket as the TCCP. Robert had ran before. He didn't do bad at that time. With what was in
this time neither.
Correct, but what was in the public's demean and all the outcry that they're saying, John sometimes is a joker and he's just not stable. And you heard what happened during the campaign. People were saying, well, look, maybe we need to give Robert a chance. So who's to say that, John didn't decide to go with an organized group because he wasn't out there exposed, understanding that his competition, whether or not you felt Robert could have won him or not, people were also calling for structure, for groups. And then you have the talks that's saying, look, we want independence. So I can't speak for him. This place is here for him if he wants to explain. Remember now, they're on the floor tomorrow. Maybe he will give a statement on the floor of Parliament.
I hope I'm not putting him out, but you mark my word. And I could see things sometimes. They call me fool and things, but I could see things coming before it happened. And it can be one bank around up and that tomorrow you hear what I say, because in some of them even like to get, like you say, go off so bad that the speaker, Ezra do play. And I hope it don't happen, because like I tell them, the whole world got the eyes on the Cayman Islands, and we can soon be the market of the Caribbean in the world. But I can see it coming. And plenty of other people got this, it can be one rat mess up in that tomorrow, because this one got oppose this and that. And because that's like, because everybody got to be on the same page. Now, I pull in east and you pull in west and the next one pull in south and the next one pull in north, and it can be planted out tomorrow. You can mark what I tell you this evening. It can be planted out. Nothing not gonna go too smooth. It would be too good to go smooth. And then that's just like what I was saying about Al when he run, because I don't know if it was true, but when he had went that he had want to go PPM the first time when he run, they said Al didn't say he didn't want him because they didn't trust him. And then that fool he gonna come and go again and go in. But he's a long story too, because I know who he is. I can tell plenty about him because he marked my sister-in-law. He's not no good. He's a no good piece of shit. So anyway, and then that's what they're saying. Remember one time when John had made a speech to or something about when they go low, when they go, how we are.
When they go low, we go high.
High, when they go high, we go low. But now they're making fun of him because they're saying now that he's a whirly, and you know what whirly is? That's a mountain that jumps from branch to branch. So now they say he going high. How before he wouldn't go low, but he want to go high now, so he's too high, and that's why they said, well, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. So that way he not nothing in the back looking in. That's what people saying about him.
Mm. Well, as long as his people are now celebrating the fact that he's no longer aligned with that party, we can't speak for him. Tomorrow is an opportunity with permission.
I like him and
No. This is not about like, we're just speaking about people asking for more. Right.
Me and they like to give me back and go say I say things that I never say and get up in the feeling and whatever. That's why I don't like, because people full of shit.
So let's hope that tomorrow now he has the opportunity once he gets permission from the speaker. It is up to John to say what he wants, and he don't have to say nothing. He's already said.
You listen, it can be one mess. I looking for it.
Well, I'm hoping that decorum will be thing. People have their say at the end of the day, and we're not going to put words. I'm not gonna speak out of turn. Yeah.
I put my mouth, if Sandra would say on it, but I don't know. I think it can be a big mess. I don't think it can go as smooth as we want it to go. Nor them other ones. I think it can be a hickering and a bickering and a hee-haw and a see-saw and everything. Anyway.
But with the numbers being so tight and things like that, maybe the time has come. Do we look for maybe 2 other seats? Maybe go for 21? Because when one person moves, I mean, it becomes so tight.
So I got fun for myself. I win the numbers to get what I want, and I got win it from there.
Oh God. Oh Lord. But yeah, maybe that time to come, not to say that people actually supported that move. We heard when that discussion come when the Electoral Boundaries Commission made their presentation, that was a suggestion. But we're seeing how tight the numbers are right now. And if we're going to still get the results of any elections where it's a coalition government, then these things are bound to happen. And maybe if the numbers were increased, I don't know. I'm just saying. It wouldn't matter so much. The constitutional rewrite where there's a new mandate. There's so much variances that you can look for this, but let's just see what is about to unfold. And I'm hoping that we have a good sitting tomorrow and first opening at least, and that everyone will be reflected in what the strategic policy statement will have, and that you will see your needs being outlined there. What it will be critical, though, is how it's funded and the pace of delivery. So I know I'm going to end just a few minutes earlier this evening. For those of you who may have thought this was informative, thank you for sticking with me. For those of you who may have thought that it was boring, oh, sorry, but you will actually go back to this episode of Sabrina Speaks, because something will present itself to you. And I know that tonight, I said at the beginning, is the John Gray High School graduation. I want you all to go on and log on to that, cheer on your family members. But yeah, so thank you everyone for sticking and staying with me. It has been my pleasure bringing you another episode of Sabrina Speaks. Denver, thank you so much for your comments. Everyone for commenting. Damien, for Connie, Bonnie, for Shelma for calling in, Miss Marjorie, everyone, Barbara G, and definitely Lisa. Yep. Everyone, what you actually comment here and staying with me means a lot to me. Miss Rose. Sabrina, is this 2 times that John resigned from his post from government? He is mixed up. He doesn't know what he wants. Is too much money that what he confused about. Ezra Miller will put him in place. Amen. Thank you. Or thank. Amen. Thanks. Resign from the PPM? No. This is only his first time resigning from the PPM. You mean switching sides now? It's a different thing. But what he did is totally different than switching sides at this time. But I'm quite sure that will all make sense tomorrow when he actually presents. And I'm hoping that he will use the opportunity, because he is allotted time once he gets speaker's permission to address the public, and that will go down in Hansard. So it would be in his best interest, to be honest, to say something, but that's totally his call. Plain and straight, thank you very much. Very informative episode. Thanks so much. Miss Marjorie, depend on the speaker. He is very capable. Of course, you have all faith in Mr. Ezard. He's no John Nickham lately here to the house. He was over in that corner many years, pretty much fending for himself. Amazing show. Thank you, Jasara. And good night, Connie. Shaka Zulu, you? You're listening diligently. Anyhow, I miss you. It's good that you came in on the tail end. But what happened to Shaq? I haven't seen Shaq commenting in a while. Interesting. I look for someone here. I look for y'all. But tomorrow, yes. Let's end today. When the SPS is table, don't just watch for God's sake. Don't just watch. Watch closely. Listen keenly to what the premier says. Listen keenly to what everybody has to say. Whether it's Rochelle Massey or Bangarang, listen. But try to remember what was shared here today. And this is just merely scratching the surface, to be honest. Watch the speaker as well. Watch the speaker, because they know now that I've kind of educated you, that you know what those red flags are. And I'm getting my amber flag. And I'm hoping that they will get at some point where the order papers can be shared publicly. And this is where, even those of you who don't like the AI, that would be good, so that you could see the order paper as well. But sometimes they change on the fly. Yep. So, and when you do see and hear this strategic product, ask yourself, does it reflect me? Does it reflect my family? Does it reflect my community? What is in there for the future of really sustainable, meaning something that we can afford and not just a Band-Aid over certain things? Because in my humble opinion, which I don't really share much here, but here's a fact, not an opinion. Parliament is just not a building, guys. Parliament is just not a building. Parliament is your voice. It's your future and it's your fight. Yeah, that's not just a building. And this is why knowing your standing orders, being able to identify certain things, I hope then at some point it'll cause you to think again. It will cause you then to possibly look at who's representing you by how they speak, what they do, and allow you to hold them accountable. But it's always a pleasure to be here with you. It is always so good to look forward to 5 o'clock, knowing I'm going to engage with you all, even though I don't know who someone is behind those names. But it's interesting. You know what? I love you still. I love y'all. Until tomorrow, have a great evening and be safe on the roads. And again, congratulations to class of 2025 John Gray High School graduates. All the best. See ya.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.